Okay, morning everyone. Well, you can sum the weather up in a few words. Bright, sunny, and cold. That's about it, really. Uh, but the more detail is essentially this high pressure is just clinging on. Certainly for the next couple of days, the fronts they just don't really get here. This one was a warm front that was lying across here, just dying out. The next cold front stops here somewhere in a day or so's time. Nothing arrives. It's just hanging in there, keeping the weather nice and pleasant. It's really just about the exactities of what it's going to do. So pressure's fairly high, 1,042. It was 1,047 yesterday. That's really high and stable and settled for this time of year. Looked at the sort of soaring potential and 1,500 feet above sea level seemed to be about best. I think it'll be a really strong inversion today, but we're right in the center of this. I mean, that's X marks the spot, the center of the high. That's not far away from us. So the winds just very light. And if you look at the TAFs, everywhere is giving variable at 2 to 3 knots, apart from Farnborough, which is giving a northerly at 2 knots. Currently, the Lasham windsock is suggesting a very small amount of westerly drift. Then we'll look at that in a minute in slightly more detail. But the rest of the Farnborough TAF, it just says, as I say, variable. Cab OK, which is 10k vis, no cloud. Potential at Farnborough for reduced visibility and perhaps some freezing fog. There were small patches of that around on the sat pic early this morning. But the rest of the TAFs for other areas around here, other airfields, just says it's going to be nice and sunny all day. I try to get a sort of indication from the 214 is exactly what the upper winds are going to do. And it does appear that it's sort of curling round here. And then this is sort of 250 westerly, southwesterly here. Down to the south of us, it's easterly, northeasterly. So it's sort of that curve you saw on the chart is really indicating which way the wind is going. And we're sat right in the middle of it. I think very light westerly is the general trend. If you look at the sat pic, there's a few bits of fog over sort of Norfolk and Sussex. And what you can see is this cloud coming down here and then rotating around here and back the other way. And I'll play the animation here and you can see it. This comes down here and rotates around. So I think we're right in the middle of a very light flow, to be honest. Temperature-wise, with virtually no wind, it should feel quite pleasant out there by sort of midday. 6-7 degrees seems about right, maybe a little bit more. Not quite coats off weather, but it will be quite nice. And top meteo, they're showing these little bits of cloud in Cambridgeshire, Norfolk, and down in Kent. And then if you play through a couple of hours, they don't do much. It's certainly bright and clear over us. It's showing a bit of cumulus down here, but certainly nothing over us. I think it's so stable, very little chance of any real soaring. And that runs all the way through till 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. So it's going to be a bright sunny day, very little upper cloud by the looks of it. And hopefully temperatures picking up to 5-6 degrees, maybe a little bit more than that. So I'll just put the 30-foot winds up here at 10 o'clock. You can see it's just rotating around here. Showing southwesterly there by 12 o'clock. And yeah, west southwesterly. think from the afternoon onwards, and the upper winds are pretty similar. It's one of those days where you could easily chase the windsock around, and I think you just have to stick with what we think is going to happen, because it won't make much difference which way you launch, to be honest. Airspace wise, not a lot going on in our area, and I don't think today, to be honest, people need to know about this other stuff, that Boscombe down and Abingdon, with articles dropping if they're flying aircraft. Then obviously check yourself if you're going in that direction, but nothing in the Lasham area. In terms of jet movements, there's a King Air inbound at 10 o'clock. And that's supposed to be leaving, I can't remember where it's leaving, at 9:30. And then there's a 737 due in at 13:30. It's on a 3.5 hour air test from somewhere else, and then arriving at Lasham. So that's it today, and apparently the rest of the week looks fairly quiet. In terms of airfield setup, I was going to sort of put the picture up there, but my guess is probably 27 is the preferred option, with the launch point vehicle somewhere there. The grass will be absolutely fine on either side of there, and I'll leave Merv to decide on the setup for the day, as he's running the airfield for the next 4 days, while I do some engineering work. Okay, folks, have a nice day flying.